I never intended to tell this story, nor did I imagine that I would one day find myself forced to confess everything that happened. But sometimes silence becomes a form of participation in wrongdoing, and I stayed silent far too long before I understood the truth completely. My name is Lena, an ordinary woman who married a man I believed was suitable for a calm and stable life, never realizing that I was stepping into a home that carried within it the fear of a child no one had truly heard. I married Omar after a relatively short relationship. He appeared responsible, quiet, and reserved, and from the beginning he told me he had one daughter from a previous marriage named Maya, who lived mostly with her mother. I didn't question it or interfere, believing that everyone carries a past. About a year after our marriage, Omar told me he had obtained full custody of Maya and that she would come to live with us permanently. That day I felt anxious, not because of her, but because I feared failing in a role I had not chosen, the role of a stepmother. Yet I decided to do my best. From the first days, Maya was unusually quiet, asking for nothing, complaining about nothing, never crying, only watching. What disturbed me most was her behavior around food. Whenever I placed a plate in front of her, she would sit quietly and say she had already eaten or that she was not hungry. It wasn't the normal refusal of a child, it was fear. Her hands sometimes trembling, her eyes darting around before she spoke, as if she were afraid someone might hear her. I tried to justify it to myself, thinking it was the change of environment, missing her mother, or simply needing time. But the days passed, her weight dropped, her face grew pale, and whenever I raised the issue with Omar, he dismissed it, saying I was exaggerating and that children go through strange phases. When I insisted, his anger surfaced, an anger that silenced me more than it should have. I began noticing small details I didn't fully understand at the time. Maya would freeze if she heard his voice suddenly, rush to her room when he was upset, and watch his face carefully as if trying to read his mood before moving. I never saw him hit her, never witnessed physical abuse, but the atmosphere in the house felt heavy and oppressive. When Omar left for a short business trip, I felt for the first time that the house could breathe, as if the air itself had grown lighter. That night, after Maya had gone to bed, I heard a soft knock on my bedroom door and found her standing there, barefoot, clutching her doll tightly, her eyes full of fear. In a voice barely audible, she told me she wanted to say something, and as she sat in front of me and I tried to calm her, she suddenly said words I will never forget. "Daddy says I shouldn't eat dinner because I need to stay small." A cold sensation spread through my body, and when I asked her why, she explained that grown-ups are not allowed to go to a special place, and that if she grew up, she would no longer be special. She didn't understand the meaning of what she was saying, but she understood fear, and her fragmented words were enough for me to realize that something deeply wrong was happening, a dangerous psychological manipulation rooted in control. I didn't sleep that night, torn between fear of being mistaken and fear of staying silent. But by morning, I knew what I had to do. So I called Child Protective Services, the hardest decision of my life, feeling as though I was betraying my home while knowing I was protecting a child. They came, spoke to Maya gently, and she revealed far more than I expected, then searched the house and opened a storage room Omar had always forbidden me from entering, finding items that were not crimes on their own, but were enough to expose an obsession with control and fear. By dawn, Maya was placed under temporary protection. I was assigned as her temporary caregiver, and I was instructed not to allow Omar anywhere near her. When he returned and learned what had happened, everything collapsed into shouting, denial, and accusations of betrayal, but the truth had already begun to surface. During therapy sessions, another shock emerged when Maya revealed that her mother, Sarah, had been visiting her secretly, frightening her about food and telling her that eating would make her grow up and drift away, that she would stop loving her if she became big.
The child had been trapped between a father who controlled her through fear and a mother who emotionally blackmailed her, and only then did I understand why Maya was afraid of everyone and why food had become her enemy. In court, the judge listened to everything and decided to revoke custody from both parents temporarily and grant it to me. I felt no sense of victory, only the heavy weight of responsibility. Today, months later, Maya eats, laughs, and sleeps without nightmares. And sometimes she looks at me and says, "Thank you for not leaving me." And I confess now that if I could go back in time, I would have spoken sooner, because there are children who cannot speak and need only one person to believe their fear.